Fine, drop it. All right, so first the good news. You saw a brief picture of Tulsi Gabbard there. Okay, about to sneeze live on air as we come on the Friday show. Young Turks, Cenk, Uygur, Jayar, Jackson, Brett Erlich.
He keeps it real, sneeze on coming.
Okay, so brace for impact. That is actually gonna be the point of what I'm gonna say in a sec. But first, the good news, Tulsi Gabbard's gonna be on the show today. Whoa, we didn't expect that. That's a twist. So that's gonna lead to a couple of different things. The normal 2 hours as we normally do on Fridays, and then you got an hour long post game as we normally do on Fridays, but we'll put the first half hour free for everybody. So that is not normal. And then after that at 9 p.m. Eastern, Tulsi Gabbard live in the studio again. So TY and available to everyone. TYT.com/live, don't miss it. Lots to talk about there. Now, put that aside, and otherwise, I am in a nuclear mood. So I sometimes tell you guys about my moods before we get started. Now, usually they don't affect the stories. In this case, they might. And like yesterday, I was in a terrific mood, but the Julian Assange story was terrible. So that set me off. I think rightfully so. All right. So watch out for anyone in my path. Donald Trump. That means you, corporate Democrats, etc. So let me get this party right, started right by throwing a random curveball that Brett and Jayar don't know about. Okay?
Sure.
Okay, yeah. Because I got to get my fury at some point. So today, Max Rose, so-called Democrat of New York, went on Fox News to trash Ilhan Omar again. So, hey, corporate Democrats, what happened to unity? I thought you guys were all about unity. Why is a Democrat going on Fox News to trash another Democrat? So how does that make any sense? And what was it about? Did she say something outrageous? No, it was about that benign comment about 9/11. Because she said some people did something on 9/11 in the 1 out of the 1,000 times she's referred to 9/11, and apparently Max Rose thought that was so egregious that he had to go run to his friends at Fox News. Oh my God, my Democratic colleague sucks. Let's go bash her on Fox News. What happened to unity? What happened to unity, Max? Hey, are we doing a resolution against Max Rose? Nancy Pelosi, where are you? I thought you were obsessed with unity. Oh, it turns out you guys are full of crap. You never meant anything about unity. You just meant we hate progressives and we'd like you to bow your head in submission. And when those women will not submit, it is driving them crazy. Sorry, no deal. AOC, no deal. Tlaib, no deal. Omar, no deal. Ayanna Pressley and on. No deal, we do not submit. So they are unbowed, and they send this Max Rose character out there, be like, Fox News, come on, let's all bash Democrats. No deal, Max. So you're the ones ruining unity. And by the way, when they see this, they'll say, oh my God, can you believe what Cenk said about poor Max Rose, who had run to the bosom of Fox News to complain about a progressive, which is his right to do as a corporate Democrat. We should all crap on progressives, but if anyone dares to fight back, we'll say, what, unity, Cenk won't do unity, Cenk won't do unity. Can you believe these young Turks, they won't do unity? Why won't they bow their head? I do not bow my head to Max Rose. So if you believe that the Democratic Party should be united, clearly the culprit here is Representative Rose, who chose to betray Ilhan Omar, his colleague. Now, they always have a colleague, my colleagues, my beloved colleagues, right? When you talk about primaries, all of a sudden it's colleagues. But when you're going out there and crapping all over progressives on Fox News, no talk of colleagues. So let's call out your hypocrisy for what it is.
Yeah, the statement was, let's be very clear about this. This is insensitive and it's offensive. On 9/11, radical terrorists attacked us. New York City lost thousands of people. My district, Staten Island and South Brooklyn lost hundreds of cops, firemen, first responders, more than any other district in America. It's first of all, what is he doing on Fox News talking about this? You're a representative, I guess, from Staten Island, but it's almost as though they say, we have a New York person, go do that. Meanwhile, New York person Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez said something very relevant, which was, hey, all these people who are complaining about Ilhan Omar not backing, appearing to be insensitive in the face of this, how about all those people not backing the payment package for people who are first responders and those affected by it? She called them out for that. Where are you in that situation?
Yeah, Representative Crenshaw was, I'm so upset that you didn't formulate that sentence in exactly the way that pleases me. Oh, did we upset you, Republican Dan Crenshaw? I'll go check to see if I give a damn. Oh, right, I don't. I don't at all. You're a Republican. You're opposed to everything I stand for. I have no interest in unity with you. Okay, I know the rest of the Democrats are like, oh my God, Dan Crenshaw said something, Fox News said something. Everybody go run and hide, okay? No, Ocasio-Cortez does not play that game. So where were you when you came to funding the victims of 9/11? Remember, now, so that's in this Congress. Now, remember in earlier Congresses, Jon Stewart on the Daily Show had to shame the Republicans into supporting the first responders' health. They said, oh yeah, you responded to 9/11? Sentence, you put a sentence in a way that is benign, but I don't particularly like. That compared to, who cares about the first responders who risked their lives to go help people? We're not going to fund their health care. That's what the Republican Party did. By the way, Max Rose, if you're so upset about 9/11, and I don't know that I even believe you. I think you're a scummy politician. I think you use this as an opportunity to bash a political opponent. I don't think this has anything to do with 9/11. If there's any policy at all here, other than the fact that you hate progressives, it's probably because you're upset at Ilhan Omar for not backing the right-wing government of Israel. But unlike you, she's not a right-winger, she's a progressive. So I guess that's a sad day for you, and she will not submit on that either. So now, and I say that because Max Rose was one of the people who was most vigilantly anti-Ilhan Omar in that controversy. So did you, when you went on Fox News, I know you guys are all friends, and you probably hugged it out and kissed one another and shook hands and did whatever else you need to do as friends and colleagues would at Fox News. But Max, while you were on there, did you remind anyone on air or off air that Donald Trump, after 9/11, went on radio and bragged that he now had the tallest building in New York City? Did you bring that up? Oh no, that's right, because you don't fight Republicans. That's what progressives do. You befriend Republicans and conservatives to bash Democrats and progressives. That's what Max Rose does. And aided and abetted by Democratic leadership. Nancy Pelosi, is there gonna be a resolution against Max Rose? No, of course not, of course not. Is gonna be a resolution against Donald Trump for what he said about 9/11? No, of course not. Against any other Republicans? No, of course not. It's because they hate progressives. And then they say, oh my God, you guys are starting conflict in the Democratic Party. We didn't start this fight. They attacked Ilhan Omar over and over again. They started this fight. Sad day for you, we fight back.
Maybe the last part of the motivation behind it also is he just came in 2018, he took out a Republican incumbent. So a lot of times, when a lot of the new Congress folks come in and then they do things because they were voted in to do it, they're like, oh man, what you're supposed to do what the people who just voted you in to do, which Ilhan Omar has talked about, AOC has talked about. But there's still always a fear sometimes when they go, man, I just took over a Republican district. There's still the fears of representing the past of what the last people voted in. You just got voted in to represent the people who voted you in now. Not to worry about, oh, this is usually a Republican district. I better keep acting like it's a Republican district. What did you run for?
I just don't know why they can't be people about it. Like, that's what's so frustrating. He has to be political about it. He has to utterly bypass what about her point? Yes, she could have added the word horrible. A terrible, dastardly, horrible thing, and not jeopardize anything about her point. So let's say, that was what she meant to say. She basically said there were specific people who did a horrible thing, and they have and basically there's been a huge apparatus in place to take it out on people who didn't do anything other than just being Muslims. That's her point, but they can't argue on that point.
Well, thank you for bringing that up, Brett, because I'd like to add the charge of bigot to Max Rose. Because her whole point in that discussion was Republicans and conservatives then use it as bigotry against Muslim Americans. Max Rose does not back that point. He ignores that point altogether to attack her, a Muslim American congresswoman wearing a hijab, for a sentence that he didn't like. And again, let's be clear, she did not minimize 9/11 at all. She didn't put any positive spin on it. She didn't put a neutral spin on it. All she said was that some things happened. Some people did some things on that day. Why did she even phrase it that way? Was it to make it seem like it's more neutral? No, they're all talking about the horror of 9/11, but that they should not be held, other innocent Muslim Americans should not be held responsible for that horror. Why did she put it that way? Because some people didn't, some people did it. We didn't do it, some people did it, it wasn't us. So that's why she phrased it that way. So, but no, Max Rose doesn't care. He's like, oh, Muslims are being haunted by this, and the right wing uses it against propaganda against Muslims. In fact, Max, someone just threatened to literally put a bullet in the skull of your colleague, Representative Omar. That just happened 2 days ago. And then you thought it's a good idea to go on Fox News and say, yeah, it's Ilhan Omar's fault. Can you believe Ilhan Omar minimizing 9/11 and encourage everybody on Fox News and their insane audience to get further mad at Ilhan Omar and to further that bigotry against Muslims? Well played, Max Rose. Now talk to me about unity.
That's rough. All right, so I want to go to the Sanctuary City story, so we're going to get right into that. Okay. Now, you may have seen the report that broke from the Washington Post where they basically said that Trump had put a plan in place and floated the idea of getting back at his political opponents by taking people who had been rounded up, asylum seekers, and dumping them in sanctuary cities. Here's the report. It says the White House officials first broached the plan in a November 16th email asking officials at several agencies whether members of the caravan could be arrested at the border and then bused, quote, to small and mid-sized sanctuary cities, places where local authorities have refused to hand over illegal immigrants for deportation. Now, here's what the White House policy coordinator, Mae Davis, said. She said the idea had, and this is in the internal email that there was referenced in the previous graphic. The idea had been raised by 1 to 2 principles that if we are unable to build sufficient temporary housing, that caravan members be bused to small and mid-sized sanctuary cities. There is not a White House decision on this. And ever since then, people were kind of backing off and saying, listen, it didn't go into place. There were folks telling the president that this wasn't a good idea, and then it kind of went away. Until today. So today, Trump decides he's gonna double down on it and tweet the following. Let's go to this graphic. We can pull up. Due to the fact that Democrats are unwilling to change our very dangerous immigration laws, we are indeed, as reported, giving strong considerations to placing illegal immigrants in sanctuary cities only, and then he continues, only the radical left always seems to have an open borders, open arms policy, so this should make them very happy. So people had said this was just a PR move. He actually went on today in a statement, which we're gonna play for you right now.
Democrats would agree. But if they don't agree, we might as well do what they always say they want. We'll bring the illegal, really you call them the illegals. I call them the illegals. They came across the border illegally. We'll bring them to sanctuary city areas and let that particular area take care of it, whether it's a state or whatever it might be. California certainly is always saying, oh, we want more people, and they want more people in their sanctuary cities. Well, we'll give them more people. We can give them a lot. We can give them an unlimited supply. And let's see if they're so happy. They say we have open arms. They're always saying they have open arms. Let's see if they have open arms. So in sanctuary cities, as per your question, we are giving very strong consideration to having people after a 20-day period, because again, you're not allowed legally to hold them for more than that. We will move them into sanctuary cities.
So before we get to what's wrong with that proposal, such as the fact that it's an illegal proposal and that is why it has not been enforced, let's talk about how the thinking behind it, right? The thinking, and apparently concocted by Stephen Miller at the White House, and obviously Donald Trump enthusiastically agrees, is haha, we'll drop off Latinos in these Democratic towns and see how they like them. Okay, so what? We like them just fine. See, we're not racist like you. So it's not like they think that, like for example in LA is a sanctuary city, if they dropped off undocumented immigrants who then had to report to court to see if they were legitimately seeking asylum, that people in LA would be like, oh my God, Oh my God, there's Latinos in this town and they're illegals.
There's Latinos in Los Angeles.
Right, and that it would freak us out. You're an idiot. We're not racist like you. It wouldn't flip us out at all. Have you ever been to Los Angeles? Oh yeah, that's right. You were here for a very huge fundraiser where you went to a mansion and all of you and your corrupt friends gave you a ton of money to do stuff like this. But no, you haven't been in the real Los Angeles where there are plenty of Latinos. And by the way, some of them are undocumented and nobody's flipping out because we're not racist like you. Okay, so now let's go to what's wrong with the proposal. Well, the ICE officials, Trump's ICE officials, the guys who are going around the country hunting people down, these are not, nobody thinks that they're anywhere near moderate, let alone progressive. They're all deeply right wing. And they're like, but Congress didn't authorize us to randomly spend money to take them from here, bust them somewhere else and then drop them off randomly. That's not authorized by Congress, so it would be illegal. What do you want us to do? And Trump is furious. He's like, well, obviously, do what I would do, break the law. What's the big deal? Yeah, that's a big deal for everyone else. You're not allowed to break the law.
Yeah, here's what Matthew Albence, the acting ICE deputy director, said in graphic 10. He said, not sure how paying to transport aliens to another location to release them when they can be released on the spot is a justified expenditure. Not to mention the liability should there be an accident along the way. That's his acting ICE director, deputy director saying. But this, to me, it's so fascinating the way they have to say it. It's like, first of all, are you kidding? It's like that interaction we played the other day with John Kerry and I think it was Bessie or whatever the representative was, where you just have to take a moment to go, are you serious? And that's what's so frustrating to me is he's not a serious actor.
Because before you can consider any of these policies, you have to say, how does this work? And that's a question Donald Trump doesn't have to consider because he just goes through and bulldozes through life. So the first question that gets asked is, oh, okay, Mr. President, you have a plan of moving migrants, as you call them, illegals, from one place to another and see how they like it. How? First, easy question. What format, how you gonna put them in certain positions, how you gonna keep them together, how you gonna send them? And then how much, where's that coming from? Because we already don't know how you're gonna pay for your monument. So all these things have to come into play that he thinks he doesn't have to consider because who cares? I'm just saying things. This is a fantasy. It's there, it's red meat for his supporters to say, oh yeah, that's right, he really does hate those damn illegals. That's the whole point of this. He doesn't have a real answer stuff. He just goes, see how they like it. Oh, and then, Mr. Trump, once they get there, who's to say that since you said they just run all over the country willy-nilly, they're not gonna run back to your corner of the country? Oh my God, what if they slip out of California? Oh my God. But no one's realizing
another bus, right?
They can move, if sanctuary cities are so willy-nilly and let them do whatever the hell they want, won't they escape?
No one's holding him here. You can just get on a bus and just head to Idaho, okay?
There's no cages in sanctuary cities.
All right, and it bears repeating every time what a sanctuary city is. It's not like Shangri-La for people who are breaking the law. No, what it is it says local law enforcement will not strictly check your papers when you are reporting a crime, for example. Why? Because they want you to report crimes. Otherwise, then nobody goes to the police, and then we have out of control chaos, anarchy, and much greater crime and danger to the public. So they're saying, hey, if you report a crime, you cooperate with the police, we're not gonna go then check your papers and throw you out of the country. If you've been robbed, you've been raped, etc., you can call us and we won't punish you.
And see, I agree with Republicans on that very point. I think the idea as to whether you should be a sanctuary city or really any kind of legislation or policy should be judged on the state and local level. So it is my Republican idea that we should allow the states to determine how they report those crimes and let keep the big government's like greasy, disgusting paws off of them.
So now there's another element of this. There's two versions of the plan. One was to drop them off in New York City, Chicago, and San Francisco, partly because they're big liberal cities, but partly to strike back at Nancy Pelosi. Oh, well, what if we put them in San Francisco? Ooh, okay. But part of the problem was the DHS officials went back. Oh, and the second version of the plan was to go drop them off at their political opponents' districts. So specific Democrats. Hey, so if you're not voting with Donald Trump, he's gonna go send a busload of undocumented immigrants and drop them off in your district. And the DHS officials said, look, even if we think it's not illegal, which it is, you would, obviously this would go to the courts and the courts would ask you, what is your legitimate governmental reason for doing this? Not a political reason, because that would be illegitimate, and so it would be blocked by the courts. What's your, and they said, the White House will not provide a legitimate reason that we could even give to the courts for why we're dropping him off in these areas.
But because his reason is, I think I just really want to stick it to him. And it is a big dramatic thing that I get it. Like that is the only thing he can understand is things that might be a scene in a movie.
Yeah, his policy is stick it to them, and so are the people who are touting and celebrating this on his Twitter feed. It's all that matters. If your policy is make the liberals cry, which I'm not sure how you complete that policy, then while he sits behind your back, and which we report on every day, screws you over, his supporters, screws you over while you cheer for him, giving you the red meat, you're only stabbing yourself, not in the back, you're stabbing yourself right in the chest and have no idea what you're doing.
So Jayar, good point, because we just covered Trump's fundraiser here in LA last week. And one of the women that we interviewed said, I want Donald Trump to know that he's got great supporters here in Los Angeles. We're not all liberals. Now, if you dropped off undocumented immigrants in LA, the progressives would say, yeah, so what, right? But Trump supporters would be like, oh no! So actually, the only people he'd be hurting is the Trump supporters. And I want to be clear about another thing. If an undocumented immigrant has a criminal record, they are not allowed to release them. So they couldn't release them in that area. They couldn't release them in sanctuary cities. If they violated that law, okay, then Trump is saying, no, I'm not going to keep anybody safe, and I don't care. I'm just going to dump off criminals. But in this case, to be fair to the Trump administration, they did not propose that. They're just talking about undocumented immigrants that have no criminal record at all. To which then goes back to, so what? And we know that an overwhelming majority of those people actually do show up in court as they are told to do when they are seeking asylum. Now that would be harder, and you would ironically have a lot more undocumented immigrants in the country if your court hearing's in Arizona and you just got dropped off in New York. How are they gonna make it to court?
But that, see, to me, that he hasn't thought that far ahead. But that also plays into his plan. I know you don't agree with this, but it's just like, he's fine if it doesn't work itself out, then it's a problem he can run on. What's interesting to me is all the numbers have gone up since he started bringing attention to this, and everything he's done has made the problem that wasn't so big a problem way worse. And I think as long as the Democrats focus on things like healthcare in the election, hopefully he will lose and things will go back to somewhat normal. All right, Jayar, you watched that the rest of that thing we showed from C-SPAN. There was one more video 4. What did you think about?
Okay, so the basis for the entire fear mongering is no matter what the logic, which is what we went through extensively just now, details, he comes with more BS on a story to scare you and to say what's really happening. So in clip 4 here, this is another story he's getting from the ranchers to give you reason to be afraid of these scary immigrants. Just real fast.
Just got back from Texas. And some of the ranchers told me, you look at Brooks County, you look at other places, some of the ranchers told me you have bodies lying all over the land of people where the coyotes give them a can of soda and they give them a sandwich and they say Houston's 300 miles in that direction. And the people don't know what that means. That means they can't make it. That means they have no chance. And they die. It's something I never heard. I never heard it to this extent. Many people die, and they'll say, just head in that direction. And we are doing a lot about it. If we had the wall, we wouldn't have that. If we had the wall, people wouldn't be coming up.
All that for the wall propaganda. The land is littered with dead bodies. Well, you shouldn't really care. You don't care about the lives of these folks anyway, right? So, but the ranchers told me they're giving a can of soda. The coyotes. What? Okay, so if the coyotes who are I guess the same drug cartel are people that want to put drugs in bodies and migrate them. If that's their point, why do they need to do this? Why are they wasting cans of soda and sandwiches on people that are going to die and leave them in the desert? It doesn't make any sense because he was never told these stories by the ranchers.
In all of this, he's using these human beings who are trying to get a better life in America according to what is on the Statue of Liberty, essentially. And he's using them as props. And what's ironic to me is that he's using them as props in the same appearance where the people behind him in that C-SPAN video are being used as props. It's not, hey, member of the union, could you please come down and appear behind the president? It's, could you come down and wear your hard hat so we can have you look like you're some kind of stock photo prop in the background. And that's what's so frustrating to me. That's how he works, and it is incumbent upon us to message effectively against it and to put a stop to it.
Well, I was so hoping one of the guys in the back would start going,
yeah,
right? Or at a minimum, break out in YMCA.
That's what I thought too. I almost said Village People.
Yeah. So, anyways, all right, guys, we're gonna take a break. Later in the program, unfortunately, Chicago police viciously attack a young student. We have video of that, and I want to talk about what we can do about it. All right, we'll be right back. We hope you're enjoying this free clip from the Young Turks. If you want to get the whole show and more exclusive content while supporting independent media, become a member at tyt.com/join today. In the meantime, enjoy this free segment. All right, back on the Young Turks. Couple of comments for you guys. Anna, not of Green Gables, writes in. Wow, Cenk sure is starting strong right out of the gate. I approve. You tell him what's up. Well, thank you, Anna. I appreciate that. One of 19 says Fox News has a bosom. Good question. Dr. Chaos MD says the establishment has been crushing the American citizens for decades. We should be starting controversies within the party because the status quo is terrible and needs its foundations shaken so it can be knocked down. See, that's the essence of the disagreement. You nailed it. We think that in the famous words of Naomi Klein, who always has the best quotes, if we got rid of Donald Trump, we'd still be in a situation so bad it created Donald Trump. Whereas the Democratic Party thinks if we get rid of Donald Trump, we'll be perfect. It'll be just like we thought it was gonna be, where Hillary wins and we maintain the status quo. Well, we don't agree, we don't agree. Terry says, and this is a good one, Trump is the only illegal I know. Every time he opens his mouth, something illegal comes out. There you go, Terry, there you go. Let me see if I can remember how to give somebody a t-shirt. Because I'm gonna give Terry a t-shirt on that. Here we go. Terry, email a link of your comment to orders@tytnetwork.com to get your free Young Turks t-shirt. Shop tyt.com, you could browse. There's like a million options there. I was browsing there the other day. There's like so many great shirts from the past and recent times as well. All right, so thank you for participating in the show. We appreciate it. One more thing, guys, before we get to the rest of the news and the rest of my anger. And now we're going to switch to Trump in a second. But aspiration.com/TYT. Look, we're trying really hard to get you sponsors that you'll love, and so that it's a win-win for everybody. And so when you put your money in Wells Fargo, anybody still doing that? Okay, God knows how badly they're gonna rip you off, let alone the fact that they put it into gun companies, for-profit prisons, oil companies, etc. Aspiration doesn't do that, and they give you the best interest rate, and you could have no fees if you wanted, and no ATM fees, and they give 10% to charity. It's crazy not to sign up for that. And they can afford all that because they don't have individual branches. So it's super convenient, and it gives you the best rates and peace of mind. Aspiration.com/TYT. All right, what's next, Brett?
All right, so Donald Trump's approval rating is through the roof if you follow his Twitter handle. He did tweet this image, which, as it would happen, is a graphic from a Fox News show. Who would think that he's watching Fox News all day? And if you'll see on the economy, his approval rating, according to Georgetown Politics, is 58%. And his overall soaring approval, as it says, is 55%. So Trump tweets, great news, hashtag MAGA. That happened. And then Lou Dobbs, it was brought to his attention and others that this was not as accurate as he might have hoped. So Mo Eliathi, who conducted the original survey, tweeted this. He said, I'm the director of GU Politics, and this graphic is incorrect. The Battleground poll shows a 58% approval on the economy, sure, but it shows only 43% overall approval and 52% disapproval. The 55% number is president's unfavorable rating. So he was bragging about how he had this favorable rating. It turned out it was unfavorable. Amazing.
So first of all, it's funny because he's an idiot, haha. But now let's get to some of the ramifications of how unintelligent the president is. So first of all, the tweet is still up. So that means there is no staffer in the White House who has the nerve to go talk to this insecure president and tell the man-child, hey, that's a little embarrassing, that we got that one wrong. Let's pull the tweet down because people are gonna keep talking about it if you still leave it up. Apparently, there's not a single person in the White House who can even talk any sense or give a single fact to the president of the United States. That's a dangerous situation. Okay, number two, he was too incompetent to even realize how extraordinary that number would be. Now, if I saw that number, if Brett or Jayar or anybody said, hey, Cenk, Trump's at 55% approval rating, I'd go, no, he's not. Really? No, we're gonna need to double check that and triple check that. Why? Because I don't like Trump? No, because I know, since I follow the news, that Donald Trump has never broken 50% in approval rating. So it would be extraordinary if he all of a sudden jumped up to 55%. So given that context, because I actually know facts and I know the news, I'd be like, wow, that's super interesting. That's very newsworthy. If he really is at 55%, we should cover it on the show, right? And we should try to figure out why, because that's so surprising. Now, Trump doesn't think that at all. He sees, I've got a 55% approval rating, and it doesn't occur to him that he's actually been sitting in the 40s and sometimes the 30s his whole presidency, and that it would be super weird for him to jump up to 55. It never even occurs to him, so that he doesn't even bother double checking before he announces it to the whole world.
And think of how that translates to everyone who watches Fox News. I mean, on this show, I don't know if it was this show, The Damage Report, where they showed that people who watch, like Republicans who watch Fox News, have a wildly different view of reality than Republicans who don't watch Fox News. So for Trump, he contributes to Fox News, creates that reality. People who watch that take that reality. Trump himself takes that reality as true. And that happened right here. He didn't question it for a second, and neither do a vast majority proven of people who watch Fox News.
It's also a possibility that he's never gonna take that down. No one's gonna talk to him. If someone did go and speak to him, he could possibly say, well, it doesn't matter, because there's still enough people that will believe it. I can leave it up because there's still a significant number of my crazed fans that will go, well, that's true. I don't care what anyone else says. That Trump still has it up, so he's right. It's when you build this coalition of, I'm the only one you need to listen to. I alone, don't forget those two words. I alone, he said, from the beginning of his presidency, can protect you, whatever he said. But I alone is the operative word here. So don't believe anyone else. Not even Lou Dobbs, who did it incorrectly, which also, I think, begs the question, did his producers know what they were doing, or are they also so deep in the mud that they have no idea that they're completely flipping the numbers? Because now that's manipulation of your viewers on purpose.
You found the, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, no, I don't think they knew. I think that your theory is right, that they're so in the mud, as you said, that they think, well, of course, 55%. But think about that too. Lou Dobbs, all of his producers, they don't know the news at all either. Like that should have surprised them. Someone in the building should have double checked that number, given how much it stands out from every number we have on Trump's approval ratings. But apparently none of them know the news.
And also, like, who calls it out? Who was the one who called it out? It's people like us who sadly have to follow Donald Trump's Twitter. Because it's not his fans. None of his fans were like, actually, you better check that out. It's people like us who, probably to the detriment of our health, are following Trump and multiple times a day get these notifications and are just like, wait, that's not right. Maybe I'll ask a question about it. Jayar found the correction that Lou Dobbs made, which itself, you have to see for yourself. Take a look.
We have new poll numbers tonight on a growing issue, at least amongst the radical Dems that we'd like to share with you tonight. But before we get to those numbers, I'd like to repair something I got wrong last night, incorrectly reporting that a Georgetown poll showed the president had an overall approval rating of 55%. The number, in fact, is 43%. That same poll found that President Trump has a 58% approval rating for the handling of the economy. Now to those numbers on reparations, and I assure you, at least most of these numbers are correct. Just kidding, just kidding.
First of all, we just talked about Ilhan Omar and belittling like something, just them saying, oh, how insensitive are you to say something about 9/11. This guy's belittling stats about reparations.
No, yeah.
Slavery, the great American embarrassment. That is what he's belittling. So where is everyone's outrage on that point?
I think Max Rose went on Fox. Oh no, he didn't. He didn't. He went on Max Rose to bash fellow Democrat Ilhan Omar. All right, I want to add one other question to this because Jayar really hit on something there about his followers. So MAGA guys, a quick question for you guys. You can leave comments down below. So do you now think that Trump has a 55% approval rating? Like even though the pollsters say no, they just read the poll wrong. He doesn't. That was his disapproval. And even Lou Dobbs corrected it, and there's no one more loyal to Donald Trump than Lou Dobbs. Do you think, well, Trump still got it up, so I don't care about reality. I'm gonna say he has a 55% approval rating. I wonder, like, are you really, like, have you lost touch with sanity and reality that much? And the answer is probably yes for some of them. My guess is, and maybe I'm being naive to this day, that they have any sanity left, that they have to make an excuse for him. They're like, well, I mean, it's definitely not true, so I don't know what to do about that. Even Lou Dobbs says it's not true. So my guess is they'll say, oh yeah, he's owning the libs. I love that one. I love it so much because he's owning the libs by being an idiot. How does that own us? I'm pretty sure that owns you. And he's like, and by lying and by not understanding anything about the news or politics or his current situation and never fixing an obvious error, he's owning you. No, I'm pretty sure he's owning you.
I hate to. Okay, so even I don't hate to do it this way. That's why I'm taking it back. Even in breaking down the way Lou Dobbs issued that correction, a correction usually time is quick and to the point. Last night we made a mistake on the show. The poll actually said this. We apologize for the misunderstanding. Whatever. Instead, he started with, we have a poll on radical Dems. So the ears perk up like, wait, we're gonna listen to radical Dems. The viewers like, oh, radical Dems poll, this is disgusting. Then he goes on to say we had the mistake, and I'm not lying to you. There's a way that you go through a sentence where you blow through. He goes, it was actually not 55%, but then there's 58% on the economy. So you hear that part, that stuck. Radical Dems poll coming, 58% economy. Then went on to joke about those, most of them are gonna be okay anyway. So there's 3 deflection points to make sure you didn't really observe that he's saying, I messed up. The whole point is to say, I messed up last night. That was lost in 3 different things he was actually portraying to you. And I don't know, maybe I'm overanalyzing. That's why I said I don't want to do it. But it's a way to still deflect from the fact he's supposed to deliver. I was wrong last night. I apologize for the mistake.
Yeah, well, you know what? I'm glad you did do it because I just realized one of the reasons why he did that. It's because Trump is watching. Yeah. He doesn't want to upset Trump, so he doesn't want to say, oh, by the way, Mr. President, sorry, your approval rating actually sucks. So he's like, radical Dems, Trump, squirrel over there, right? And the reparations, squirrel over there, right? That we were wrong. Okay, Trump didn't catch that, right? No way he caught it. Way too dumb to catch that. Let's move on.
And also the idea that 58% of the people think you're doing fine with the economy, yet 55% of the people hate you.
Wow, right? That's a great point, Brett. So like, imagine how much they hate you on other stuff. Okay, and by the way, today I did what the president should have done before he tweeted it. I checked his average of the polls. I went to Real Clear Politics, checked the average of all the different polls on him, and right now he stands at an approval rating of not 55, but 41.2%.
And technically, yeah, this wasn't even like job approval. This is like, what do you think about Donald Trump? And they were like unfavorable 55%, just like, don't like the guy.
Yeah, 41.2% is terrible for a president. Terrible. And so there's this mythology that is aided and abetted by cable news that the country's 50-50. They're not 50-50 on Donald Trump. I think they're wrong on his handling of the economy, but even if at 58% saying he's handling the economy well, still he's deeply disliked in the country. 41% does not win you elections. The only asterisk to that is unless you're running against an establishment Democrat like Hillary Clinton. Okay.
Yeah, we gotta take a break.
Okay. All right, when we come back, more rage and fun, as is the course in Young Turks history, including at the Chicago cops for what they did to that poor girl. All right, we'll be back.